politics. Game of racial politics. It all comes back to this. We show up to a chess game with a pocket full of checkers. I'm mad, it's racist. Let's march. Man, people be opening up their windows. Do you hear them out there now? All right, cool. They'll be out of energy by about 2 o'clock. Then we'll go out and get some lunch. I can't. It kills me. How many times? And like I said before, tools of white supremacy. The thinkers of white supremacy. The purveyors of white supremacy are real good at this game. They've been playing it for years. We just got, as black people, we just got immersed in a game of politics when Obama got elected. Before Obama, we didn't even care about politics. But now, we're finally starting to get schooled on politics. Some of us schooled wrong, but I'm not going to get into that. But the bottom line is, what we have going on, we show up to the game unprepared. We show up playing the wrong game. You have to understand the game of racial politics. You have to understand. Because I'm going to tell you something that was very noticeable to me about this Trayvon Martin case. Something that was very noticeable. Even though I knew for a fact, and I'm using social media, on my social media site, that I had conversations with white people who agreed that George Zimmerman got away with murder. Not one white person publicly posted anything condemning the verdict. I got inboxes. Inboxes saying we feel helpless. I mean, you should see my message boards. You should see what people are posting. But not one person spoke up. You know why? Because they understand the game of racial politics. See, it's something that we don't realize in here and we don't know. White people can lose white privilege. But they are very aware of that. If they step out of line, they get hit with a ton of bricks. And they lose white privilege. And that ain't worth your black ass. Okay? Understand that. Like I said, oppositional, so racial politics is basic. It's up front, a united front. Okay? Even if I don't agree with you, I'm not going to speak out about it publicly. I whisper about it, but I ain't going to raise my voice. I know what happens. Oppositional silence. That's what I'm talking about. That's silence. And racial politics. It's a game that's well played, well schemed. Manipulation of media outlets. Running up and putting the camera in front of a black person is going to support your view. It's going to come with a non-black retort. It's going to come with the anti-black rhetoric. Or getting the people that we can easily manipulate. Like going up and getting Brother Al Sharpton. Going up and getting Jesse Jackson. We know they have miles and miles and miles of red tape on them. They can be manipulated through whatever. You know, put a microphone in front of JC. Let them go on tour to Cuba so they can try to find a side of Shakur.
That's what that was about. Let them know. Let them know. Definitely.
Yeah. Who else can get diplomatic passes to go to Cuba? Yep. That's a crime against America. you get written up. You get arrested for treason. Dealing with Cuba. We on there out there taking pictures and doing songs. Public praise, private executions. You'll never see a real white debate on race. And this is why black people, I'm telling you now, in terms of everybody that wants to sing Kumbaya with the white community, I'm telling you like this, kill that conversation. Because until the white community has an honest conversation within itself on its views on racism, on its views on racial hatred towards people who aren't white, until they come to an understanding that they have some venom in them that needs to be expunged, that needs to be expelled, there's no reason to have a conversation. Because what you'll do is have a conversation with a liberal white person and a black person. They'll get together and have a conversation. But then when you turn around, there's still those pockets throughout the country. Fuck them niggas. Those pockets are there. Trayvon Martin was walking in one of them. self-reliance, self-sufficient. Until we become self-reliant, until we become self-sufficient, we have no seat at the table to bargain. We have no chips to bargain with. No chips to bargain with. How are you going to sit at a table talking about, well, I want this, I want that? Well, what do you have to offer us? Why do we have to respect you? Where are you going to take your economic base? Where are you going? I know you're not talking to me. You don't have anything to offer me. So until we become self-reliant as a people, until we become disciplined, until we become self-sufficient economically, we have no room at the table to sit there and talk about race relations. We have to get ourselves together. And because we've been looking at ourselves through the eyes of white supremacy so long, we've been taught that individualism is the way to go. We've been taught, you went to college, you got a good job. Not really a good job, but just a good job for us. You got a good job? Why don't you move out into the suburbs where you could barely afford to pay your mortgage and buy a nice high-priced car that you could barely afford, live and become our debt slave. See, slavery didn't go nowhere. It just changed the form, just changed the shape. Prison system became slavery. Debt became slavery. You don't believe it? Don't pay your bills for a minute. You see all about slavery. We need to learn how to re-educate our children. Bring them out here. Bring them to BlackandNobel. So they can come in here and soak up some of this. I love coming in this place. And I just recently started coming here. That's bad. I feel real bad about that. Because this place has been a bastion of my neighborhood for the last 10 years. I live 5 blocks from here. I used to eat chicken down the street. You know what I'm saying? I fell right into that one. So, but the bottom line is, just don't call Tiger Woods over. You didn't eat that. But the bottom line is, I didn't take advantage of this, so I want to promote it and get it out there now. Come to BlackandNobel. This place is like home to me. I have a hard time leaving when I come here. I stop by and see Hop. I stop by and see Tyson. I stop by and see Quadir. I stop by and see anybody up in here. And I'm saying to myself, I didn't come to buy anything, but I'm just here. This place right here brings a certain spiritual aura that I feel when I come in here. It takes me to another place. It almost feels like when I was watching Umar's video the other day, and he talked about how Africa was, spiritual cleansing for him. I feel spiritually cleansed when I come into this place. I leave recharged. We need to make sure our kids get to places like this. We need to make sure this is where real teaching goes on. It's not scripted like our school district curriculums. Right? Oh, group economics. But we just talked about that, right? We need to learn how to practice group economics. We have millionaires and billionaires, black millionaires and billionaires all over the country. But together, we own 0.5% of the wealth. Now, how is that? How are we not doing commerce? We got black farmers that can supply markets up here, and we can run our whole neighborhoods. Our whole neighborhoods can survive off of that. We have creative, innovative minds. We have children who survive. They just survive with no training, on-the-job training on the streets. If we tap into them and cultivate them, there's no limit to our potential. Did I leave one out? Yeah. This last one's important before I go forward. Tangible gains versus symbolic achievements. Let me give you an example of a tangible gain. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. That was a gain. A little bit, but it was something that we could put in stone, something that affected all of us. Let me tell you a symbolic achievement. The election of Barack Obama. That was a symbolic achievement. Look what he's become. Okay? I'm gonna wrap it up real quick, guys. I see this. See you guys get a little weary. Let me get through this real quick. I want to talk about. So, who speaks truth to power for us? I just spoke about this for a second, right? Okay? You got some people will say, translation, I don't see race. Okay? Translation, I'm just going to exude my white privilege. I'm going to pretend like you don't have any problems, any baggage, any issues that come with being black. I'm just going to pretend like society doesn't see that. Alright? Because, oh no, I didn't have any slaves. I didn't own any property. Nah, but you know what though? You know, you're not talking about how you reciprocated. How the property was sent there, passed down generation to generation. A good example of that would be the Thomas Jefferson story about how his natural children, through his natural wife, inherited all of his fortune, all of his homes, all of his treasures, and how his children, through Sally Henning, got nothing. Not even acknowledgement until about 10 years ago. That's the difference in privilege. We talk about this stuff. We talked about this already. This is why white people don't speak out for us. After they get our stride, where white people gonna go? They live within the black community and become a target? I'm just speaking on how, you know, how it is. You know, get blacklisted, loses white privilege, get local harassment. Speaking against power, speaking truth to power. Here's what I want to tell you. This whole Chicago thing was not an accident, in my opinion. But this is going to come off like conspiracy theory. I want somebody to check on this like 10 years from now. That during this time of the Trayvon Martin case, that there was some COINTELPRO operations going on in Chicago. That the murder rate seemed, as soon as the trial kicked off, all of a sudden, all the publicity started talking about the killings in Chicago. How, you know, they were shooting in Chicago, 40 people shot this weekend, 30 people shot this weekend, 20 people shot this weekend. And since the case has been over, I haven't heard a whisper about Chicago. Crime just stopped. Or was it not just a tool of deflection? So I'll let you guys look over the COINTELPRO papers and the goals and other things, another opportunity. That's just more of them. So we talk about black progress, right? Talk about our progress. This was 1921. This is the Black Wall Street. This is like the area of Tioga Nicetown, besides Tulsa. The Black Wall Street. 600 businesses, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, 6 private airplanes. 6 private airplanes. Bob Johnson can't get an airline in 2010. Hospital, a bank, and its own school system. Tell me a city that has that now. And we talk about progress as the black community. Tell me a city. We can't think of a city because we don't have any cities. Even Harlem is gentrified. I got a bootleg movie off of White Collar, 125th Street. Yo, for real, alright? You know, we lost our sense of community when being over here was better than being right here. Getting ours and moving on. So instead of a doctor living next door, instead of a lawyer living next door, instead of a judge living next door, they moved out here. Took all the local role models out here. Took all the community leaders out here. Because this wasn't good enough for them. You know, America right now is turning into South Africa apartheid right before our eyes, and we don't even recognize it. You know, the system of South Africa, and if you really want to know about that, you really need to read a book that was made about 25 years ago by a guy named Mark Mathabay called Kaffir Boy. Alright? And he talked about the way the cities were set up. And the way the cities are set up is the opposite of the way American cities used to be, where all the rich white people and all the rich white middle class were clustered into the city, the center of the city, and all the blacks lived in the outskirts, the suburbs, the shantytown, the suburbs, the outskirts. Well, if you pay attention to what's going on right now, through the process of gentrification, I wish another brother would have came out tonight that he said he was going to come, he didn't come, but he talks about this whole system that's been put by this new yuppie community that's trying to take over the inner cities. Their answer to crime is we'll gentrify the neighborhoods, make the homes unaffordable, and move the blacks out. That way, the crime will no longer occur in this neighborhood. Okay? We need to stop black flight. Come back home and build up our neighborhoods and our communities. We need to band together and buy those vacant houses on our blocks, build them up, and then generate some commerce that way. Then we'll control who comes in our neighborhoods. Not only will we control who comes in our neighborhoods, but we'll also be able to pile these houses together. That's corporation building. That's neighborhood. That's community building. That's nation building. See, we got to recognize something. These are what imprison us. Clothes, cars, video consoles, expensive clothes. I put clothes a bit twice. It was on my mind. You got kids rapping. I got Versace. This one kid has a video now, a song out called I Woke Up in a New Bugatti. Free advertising. I didn't even know what a Bugatti was until I heard that song. You got people talking about, so you're advertising for these companies for free that don't give a damn about you. We need to learn how to be marketers. If we're going to advertise to the company, get a piece of that check. Go up to them, listen, I'm coming up with an album, it's going to sell millions, it's being promoted by this company, I'm going to mention your label, I'm going to mention your product. I need parts. I need some of that. But no, we feel like if we're bragging about what we have, even though some of these cats don't have that, we're bragging about this and this whole thing of materialism, that it makes us better because it makes up for our miserable existence. And we are dealing with the fact that, you know, being black is hard. It's just hard. I'm proud to be black. I love being black. But it's hard. It's hard when you feel like when you're black, you deal with being black every day. I know some families, I talked to some families, and they were told, the kid was told, listen, can't come to my party. He said, why? He said, it's a black thing. You wouldn't understand. And the conversation was like, Dad, we really didn't want him to have to deal with race until he was ready. Right. Problem is, we deal with race when we come out the womb. And that's the white privilege. You don't have to deal with race if it's not in your face. But we deal with race all the time. And one of the things we do is we put ourselves down. Because since we can't be white, we might as well have some material. We might as well have something. And we get caught up in this game. You know, as consumers, black people just buy things, just spin out of control just because, just to have something. I got a phone. Oh, the new phone came out. I need to get that. I got a 06 Navigator. Well, the new one came out. I need to get that. I got this type of car. Well, the new one came out. I need to get that. Oh, the new Jordans are coming out. My sneakers are just fine, but I need those though. We don't buy on an as-needed basis. Our consumption is illiterate because all we do is consume. We don't make educated choices and decisions about what we consume. We don't consume houses, property, precious metals, and stone, businesses, and agriculture. We don't consume that stuff. Anybody ever seen the movie Baby Boy? Guns and butter. This is the guns, this is the butter. But we don't think like that. How many of us are going to go out this year and go buy the new PlayStation 4 for Christmas? You know, in Philadelphia, we spend like $600 million between, is it 600 million or 6 billion? I gotta get those numbers. I know it's a lot of damn money. It's enough money I would have saved the school district. We spend that as a black community in Philadelphia. We spend that between Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Christmas. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to start spending as needed. Uh-oh. We have to start restoring our community and educate our kids. We have to remember that we're Africans in America. We have to go back to that sense of community because we're too divided as a people. We're divided by religion. You know what? What religion was Trayvon Martin the night he got killed? What about those other kids that got killed? What were their religions? We don't even know. We just know they were black. We need to understand that. We need to understand the fact that we need to embrace who we are as a people and come together. We don't always have to be unified on one accord, but we have to be in harmony with one another. We have to be able to speak amongst ourselves and agree amongst ourselves and make movements amongst ourselves. We have to restore our civic pride. Oh, one more thing. We have to start respecting the true value of life. I did a little experiment one time when I was working at a school called CP. This brother here used to work there with me, so he knows what I was going through on a daily basis. Now, I had the kids doing an assignment. I said, listen, instead of calling each other niggas and bitches, call each other brothers and sisters. And see if you can say the same sentences you use those two words with, and see if it comes out the same. In 5 minutes, oh, Mr. Jones, this is too hard. What? I can't talk. Why? Because I can't say I'm going to smack the shit out of you, nigga. Well, I can say that. But I can't say I'm going to smack the shit out of you, brother. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't roll off the tongue right. It doesn't say I'm going to kill you. I can say I can kill you. I'm going to kill you, bitch. But I can't say I'm going to kill you, sister. It doesn't sound right. And that's because when you talk to somebody as a brother or sister, you're referring to them as a human. You attach value to them. When you talk to somebody as a nigga or a bitch, you're talking to them, you're referring to them as less than. And that psychosomatic game has been played on us for so long that we're taking part in it. We have to start recognizing ourselves. Words matter. Words are important. I'm no longer a Philadelphia Eagle fan because of the way they responded to the Riley Cooper situation. And I've been a die-hard Eagle fan for about the last 35 years, since I knew football was being played. I can no longer support them. I'm really teetering on not supporting the entire NFL because they also made that statement that it's okay for people to get called in. Now, let's be clear about one thing. That BS apology, that wasn't about being contrite for saying the word nigga. That was contrite because he got caught and it came out. He wasn't contrite in May when he said it. He was contrite when he thought about, damn, I just ruined my earning potential. Damn, being in the NFL is pretty good, it's nice. That's what he got mad at. That's what he got contrite. That's why he couldn't get any sleep. That's why he needed to go home with his family. They didn't raise him like that. Let's think about that for a second. But when we teach our brothers and sisters to start referring to each other as brothers and sisters, it changes your whole mindset. Because when you think about somebody as a brother, you wouldn't think about hurting them. Think about somebody as a sister, you wouldn't think about hurting them. You think about trying to help them heal, trying to help them out of this situation. It's from the system of, we become nurturers then. You know, we don't look at each other as less than. And that's the narrative that's been sold to us. These here days are over. The Stephen Fetchit. The Stephen Fetchit days are over. Alright? It's time for us to start realizing that schools are not setting us up or our kids up for success. They're teaching our kids to go into the workforce, join the workforce, how to perform in the workforce. They're not teaching our kids how to be owners, how to be entrepreneurs, how to manifest their own destiny. They're not teaching our kids that. So we need to get on board there. We need to tell kids, listen, don't go in there and think you're going to be the employee of the month. Thinking about who you're going to select as employee of the month for your own corporation. We need to start being better parents to our kids. Can't keep upholding our kids. We need to instill discipline in our children. Right from wrong. Straighten them out early on so that when they get too big to put them back in their britches, they already have instilled in them the survival, the core system, the core moral code and survival that they're going to need to succeed in this world, because it's a cold world out here. It's time for black men to stand up and be accountable for. Basically, your brother in here, go out there and grab at least one young boy. That's your young boy. Go out there and grab one of these young fellas and talk to him. You don't have to scream at him. You don't have to tell him how his lifestyle's wrong. Just let him know you're thinking about him and that you know he can be doing better. Let's talk about our young ladies. Let's stop looking at them as twerkers, tweakers, or whatever. Okay? Let's stop giving them accolades for that. Let them see that they can get love from us in a way that's more respectful and more responsible. that they don't have to sell sex to us. We love you because you're our sisters. They're doing that because it's a lack of attention that they received because daddy wasn't home. Mommy's bringing in all these different guys. So I see how mommy gets attention. Now I'm going to start getting attention the same way. No, sis, listen, you got that wrong. Because I'm going to see you just like you're presenting yourself, so let me try to school you. You need to show and you need to represent yourself in a better manner, and you'll get a better product. You'll get a better return on your product. So when people start talking about they know their worth, first of all, they have to show their worth. And I said sisters need to leave the feminist movement. The feminist movement is no place for a black woman. Where was the feminist movement at for Sabrina Fulton? Where's the feminist movement at for her? Where was their presence in the courtroom? Wasn't there. Sabrina Fulton couldn't find a sister. She couldn't find anybody in the feminist movement to join her. The feminist movement was never a movement for black women. And I need to understand that the feminist movement was designed to help white women get numbers because white women were disenfranchised by white men. Black women were never disenfranchised by black men. On what grounds and what power? Did black men tell black women you can't go out and get a job? Oh, we both need to get jobs. Black men tell black women you need to be barefoot and pregnant. Black women were washing the house, cleaning the houses of white families. They were working. So black women need to leave this movement alone because this movement doesn't benefit you. I say as black people, we need to leave all movements alone. Because I love my Latino brothers and sisters, as, cousins. But the bottom line is, when we have our movements, I don't see a large number of Latinos. In fact, Latinos fought constitutionally to get them placed white, white Spanish speaking on the census documents, so they could be labeled as white. They didn't want to be included as black. That was the Latino community. Now, I'm not saying this to say if you're friends with a person that's Latino, you can't be friends. If you're friends with a person that's white, you can't be friends. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is understand the game of racial politics and how it's being played. We have got to start playing the game the right way. How many of us teach our kids how to play chess? All right. But they have to apply that logic. Playing chess to life. The original game of chess was used on several occasions to emulate living circumstances. There's a whole history on Peter the Great and how he used to do it when he was the Tsar of Russia. Now we know where he got it from, but we're not going to go into that. Not today. So, we need to stop expecting fighters of white supremacy to save us. Nobody white can save us. We have to save ourselves. It can't happen. First of all, I already showed you earlier what happens when white people decide to step up and speak out against white supremacy. Oh, it has happened before. They have been ostracized. They have been whipped. All right? Disappeared. Yeah. So don't expect that. And this is our movement. We need to spearhead it. But the days of us having appointed leaders are over. We need to develop community leadership and start this movement on the grassroots level. How can we build a movement of people? How can we build a nation if we can't build communities? So we need to start this from ground zero. And we don't need any of the retreads. We don't need any of the proprietors of white supremacy. Come on, I'll speak for you, boss. No, we're good. We don't need any of you no more. We don't need anybody sitting there talking about we're going to do a march, we're going to do a protest. Listen, we're going to get organized. We're going to develop a voting block. We're going to talk about which businesses come into our community. We're going to talk about how we're going to build up our things. We're going to talk about how we're going to show up at schools and parents and demand a particular curriculum for our kids That's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start being accountable and stop trying to let the system save us. That's what got us in this mess in the first place. Hoover. Derek Hoover, you remember this guy? Director of the FBI for like 72 years? I'm not 72 years, I'm sorry, like, what is it, 58 years? 48 years. Alright? Derek Hoover. Said his primary job, primary mission, he came with the COINTEL protocols, the COINTEL Pro papers, was to prevent the rise of a black messiah. They could unify, electrify the militant black nationalist movement.